be so many others like me.
Hello and welcome to a bonus episode of the Bomb Squad podcast. I'm Tim Marcel Sullivan, and with me I have...
I'm Tanner Richard Kraft. Jesus Christ, you sound like you're in pain.
And today, we are talking about the film Marcel, the Shell with Shoes On, the new release from A24 by Dean Fleischer-Camp, which, basically, there's a little bit of background on this character. Apparently, this character originally came to be when Jenny Slate was in a hotel room with a bunch of people for a wedding, and it was just like a very cramped small space, and so she started making this voice of just like this tiny like cramped character, and everybody thought it was such a funny voice that they decided to make a character out of it. She and her boyfriend at the time, Dean Fleischer-Camp, decided to make the Marcel character, so they made a short film, and a lot of people like the short film. You can find it on YouTube. That ended up spawning 2 additional short films, and then they wrote 2 books, Things About Me and The Most Surprised I've Ever Been. And then they started making the feature film, which of course is why we're here today. And they spent something like 7 years working on this movie, because like they had to give it 4 passes. Like they shot it, they did the storyboards, and then they had to like do the stop motion animation and then just like put it all together. It's just a lot of stages to make this whole thing come together. But now it's here, and it's taken the world by heart. So let's start with our expectations going into the movie. Tanner, what were your expectations based on the trailer?
They made these when they're in their early 20s, the shorts, right?
I think so, yeah.
What am I doing wrong, Tim?
Just listen.
I'm listening.
That's all I got.
Okay. When I first saw my first time hearing about the movie at all, it was when I saw the trailer. And I watched the trailer because it's a new A24 thing, and A24 usually makes movies I'm interested in. Mostly because they like to partner with more esoteric directors.
Mm-hmm.
Not quite like artsy out there, but not quite mainstream. That sort of sweet spot, you know. Type of directors I tend to be really into. So I saw the trailer for this and I was like, oh, A24, their first movie that's rated PG. That should be interesting. Watched the trailer and didn't cry at it, believe it or not. I cry at a lot of trailers. Famously cried at the Lightyear trailer. Famously cried watching the E.T. trailer in theaters. Most recently cried watching the Black Panther Wakanda Forever trailer. I cry at trailers easily.
Let's not forget Clifford the Big Red Dog.
I got angry at crying at that one. I was angry I cried at that one. The movie's okay. Clifford. I'm not talking about Marcel. So, when I saw the trailer and it had that, oh my god, what's his name?
Phil Collins?
Thank you. That Phil Collins song in the trailer, I was like, okay, this looks fun. This looks like my vibe. This looks like my bag. I'm excited to see it. And then when the day it came, it was supposed to be in theaters. Wasn't on Fandango. And 2 weeks later, still wasn't on Fandango. So I almost messaged Ethan and saying, hey, can you get a word in with Pete, see if they can get this one playing? The next day, Showtime's finally started popping up.
Mm-hmm.
For sale on that upcoming Thursday. So I was like, oh, yay. So I was excited, I guess. I wasn't expecting it to blow my mind, but it looked fun and cute.
All right. Yeah, I mean, kind of on the same wavelength. Like, I didn't even watch the trailer right away. I think the first time I actually saw the trailer was at Pompo when I went to see that. And
Did it play in front of Pompo?
Yeah, they played it at Pompo. They've been playing it pretty much at any PG movies I've gone to recently. Because I think they also played it at Lightyear when I went to see it. But
I do remember it in front of Lightyear. I don't remember it in front of Pompo.
yeah.
Weird.
But yeah, anyway, like I hadn't watched any of those shorts. I hadn't read the books, so I didn't really know anything about the character going into it, but like that trailer looked really good to me. And like there's this thing, like basically every couple of years you'll see a new trend with trailers pop up. Like there'll be one trailer that like blows everybody away, and then a bunch of trailers after that will try and hit on those same vibes. Like for a long time it was Inception. Everybody needed to have the bwah on their trailer.
Bwah!
And within the last like 7 years, it's been a lot of the Force Awakens stuff. Like that kind of started the trend of what I like to call the emotional sucker punch, where it happens a lot with like big like revivals of like big franchises like Star Wars and Ghostbusters, where they're like trying to touch on the nostalgia of the series you know so much, and like right at the end of the trailer they'll hit you with that one music cue that's supposed to take you over the edge, and it's supposed to make you cry. They've been doing that a lot lately, and then like this isn't like a big franchise thing, but like it definitely had that same sort of style, and like Phil Collins was fucking cheating. It was cheating. That's too much.
Phil Collins is cheating.
That's not fair. I don't know anything about this movie, and of course I'm gonna see it as soon as I can, because you just fucking threw Phil Collins at me. It's not fair.
Casual Phil Collins.
Yeah. So yeah, I was definitely looking forward to seeing it, and like you mentioned, it's such a limited screening, which was unfortunate because I wanted to see it with my girlfriend and she wanted to see it, but our times could never align, so we weren't able to see it together.
Is it even playing at Ronnie's still?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
But
that was fucking quick.
Yeah, really. Like it was literally just like a week, which sucked because it was something that a lot of people were looking forward to, and like I remember seeing people who were able to see it before us were all raving about it, so I was excited for it. But anyway,
it's like in the top 100 on Letterboxd last I checked, which is insane.
Yeah. Yeah, so let's just go right into it. Tanner, what are your thoughts on the movie?
Movie good.
Woo!
Really, I don't have a ton to say. It's not exactly it's not a thought-provoking movie, but it's not thought-provoking in the sense that it leads to conversations. It's thought-provoking in the sense it leads to a lot of introspection, I think.
Yeah.
More looking within than talking externally. It's obviously a movie about family, and I know I joke a lot about dads rock, blah blah blah. What that really is an extension of is I like narratives that revolve around family.
Mm-hmm.
That is one of my favorite things to see in movies, and this movie, which is literally about a character that wants to find her family, or find his family, sorry. I was never actually sure until like near the end of the movie. I'm gonna be honest. I figured because Jenny the Slate was voicing him.
Yeah, but
I know women voice little boys in cartoons all the time, but
he's Marcel and he's the shell with shoes on.
Yeah. I thought it was really emotional when it wanted to be. I teared up a few times. What it mostly revolves around is there's the obvious plot of Marcel wanting to find his family and also take care of his grandma. And then there's a bit of the subplot where the director himself is a character in the movie. And it's also kind of about him finding something to do with his life. It's really subtle. It's not super. It's largely in the background of the movie, but he definitely has an arc too that sort of intertwines. And Marcel and the director sort of find what they need in each other. But I think it's really good. The cinematography is really nice. The animation is great. The stop motion stuff is really good. The compositioning of the stop motion and the live action footage is insanely well done. The whole 60 minutes thing I found to be very funny because 60 minutes is like the thing in my household. So I was just like, oh, yeah, they get it. Lancy stole his fears. You get it. And it's just a really enjoyable, very funny movie, by the way. I was laughing a lot.
Yeah.
I can't think of any particular things that made me laugh off the top of my head, but I do remember laughing a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, it's just a really good, heartwarming movie, and that's kind of actually all I have to say. This might be a short podcast.
I mean, fair enough. Yeah, I would definitely agree. Like, it had a lot of great emotional beats. It had a lot of humor. It was raunchier than I expected it to be. Like, when they were doing the one bit where they were like looking at all the reactions and they see the meme that says "when the kush hits hard," like that, I kind of lost it a little bit
I'm
at that.
surprised you can put that in a PG movie.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, I was a little shook because I was like, I did not expect to see that in a PG movie, but that was.
Is that not a drug reference?
It is 100% a drug reference. But yeah, I love how the grandma in that scene is just like, I don't get it, and Marcel and Dean are just laughing their asses off. It's a lot of good stuff. I think my main like issue, if I had to pick one, is that like I think there are some moments where like the emotional beats and the comedy beats, like they interact with each other in moments that like don't really fit well. Like the one moment that like it kind of took me out of it was like when they're having the funeral for the grandma, and like they do the bit where he's getting the footage from up in the tree, and the neighbor's like, "What are you doing to my tree?" And he's just like, I'm shooting a thing. It's like, yeah, you can't do that. You got to get out of my tree. Like, that's a...
Yeah, in that moment, I thought it was going to be like, surprise, it's the boyfriend. I do not know why. I do not know why I thought that. I think it's because my brain was trying to rationalize why it was happening.
Like, and like, I thought it was a funny bit, but I just think the timing was not great. Like, I couldn't really laugh at it because it was, like, capping off a very, like, serious emotional moment. But for the most part, like, I thought it had a lot to love about it. Like, the character is very lovable. Like, one moment in particular that, like, really stuck out to me was, when Marcel's like, we found the place, and then, they're in the car together, and, like, he takes Marcel up to this, like, peak, and they're like looking down at all the houses, and like he's basically explaining how much world there is. Like it's way more than just their neighborhood, their house. And like that kind of reminded me of Everything Everywhere All at Once. Like just that this scene with when they're the rocks, and they're just like, every time we think that we figured it out, there's going to be something else that makes us feel like tiny pieces of shit. It's just like that kind of moment. And yeah, like you were saying, it's got a lot of like introspective stuff, particularly in that moment, like kind of making us realize how much there is and how small we actually are. But ultimately, we just have to look for what's important in our world while we're here. Yeah, movie
No.
Indeed good.
Yeah, I agree. I will say, in terms of critique, I think the movie emotional moments didn't hit as well for me in some points. For example, the grandma death. I never really found myself getting emotional at it. I think it's because when they come home from that adventure and they find that grandma was hurt, I thought grandma had died.
Yeah.
So it kind of felt like a bit of a fake out. And because of that, when she actually died, I just don't think it hit as well. What did get me to cry, though, even though it was so obvious, it was the pan out to reveal his whole family.
Yeah.
That got to me. I don't know why. That got to me, but the death didn't. It was kind of weird.
I mean, that definitely hits on just like um what's the word? Um like
Two worlds, one family.
yeah, there you go, Phil Collins.
That's a different Phil Collins movie. Sorry.
Um yeah, like it hits you on that like sympathetic kind of like um happy note, but like it does get you in the feels.
Happy. It's happy crying. You're crying because you're happy.
Yeah.
Not to. This is a completely different movie, but Avengers Endgame. Um, when Cap lifts Mjolnir in that movie, when I watched it the first time and a lot of subsequent viewings, I cried. I kind of can't explain it. It's sort of the euphoria of the moment. In that moment that makes me emotional. And I think that's why Marcel's family. It's the euphoria of the moment.
Mm-hmm.
In Endgame, I always figured he was going to lift Mjolnir. In Marcel, I always figured he was going to find his family. But actually seeing it, believing it, and seeing it actually play out, and your emotions sort of just like your body doesn't know how to respond to all the emotions overwhelming you, and you start to cry.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is for me.
Yeah, I feel that. Like, and it's kind of like what people have been saying about like Better Call Saul. It was a lot of just like, we know how a lot of things are gonna go down, but it's just like seeing them go down is like knowing what's going to happen and seeing how it happens. That has an emotional impact on its own.
Yeah, seeing is believing.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, like I think another thing that I really enjoyed about the movie was like obviously Marcel is just such a lovable character, and like Jenny Slate just really, I think it's Jenny Slate at her funniest. Like a lot of people like her Parks and Rec stuff, and like she's funny in that, but I really think that she's great in this. Like I love her like witty banter with Dean. Like particularly like the stuff at the end where they're going into his new apartment, and he's just like, oh, I see flowers from a lady. I'm like, no, don't worry about it. And they're like, oh, I see you're changing you're changing the subject. Ah. It's just like a lot of funny stuff like that, and delivered really well.
It's Jenny Slate's second funniest movie of the year for me.
Oh yeah, she was also in Everything Everywhere.
The dog shit is gut busting, man.
Yeah, it do be good.
Fucking dog food with the fridge, God.
Yeah, it was. There's a lot to like about it. I guess yeah. What was boiling down to? There's not too terribly much to say about it, but I think that there's plenty to enjoy about it. And I would definitely recommend checking it out. I guess it's probably not in theaters anymore, but it's probably going to be coming to VOD.
It's in theaters in a lot of parts of the country still.
Okay.
I think A24's strategy with this thing has been a weird actively responding to what markets it's doing well in thing. It might try to bring it back to St. Louis later. They're doing some weird stuff with this one.
Yeah, if you can see it in theaters or whenever it comes to VOD, I would definitely recommend checking it out if you're in the mood for something just kind of sweet, funny, wholesome, and just all around good time. And like, I do kind of get pedantic when I watch like mockumentary type things. There's just like my brain trying to calculate how they would get some of this footage. You know what I mean? Like sometimes they're just camera angles where I'm just like, they wouldn't have that camera angle. And like when they're showing the footage of the older couple, like how did they get this footage? This wouldn't exist. But that's just my brain being annoying and pedantic. If you can get past that, like it's still just a very good movie. And I would recommend checking it out. So I guess that's gonna bring us
You see, I see the impossible in movies all the time, so I assume that everything is possible when it comes to a camera. They disassembled an IMAX camera to just a sensor so it could fit into a jet cockpit for Top Gun Maverick. Anything is possible, Tim.
Well, sure, narrative pieces that aren't supposed to be a documentary, yes, but like when it's mockumentaries, it's just my brain is annoying.
What I'm saying here is I'm trying to fix your brain, Tim. I'm trying to explain. Just tell your brain they invented a special camera. Just tell yourself that every time.
They invented the magic camera. There we go.
Yeah, there we go. Magic bullet, JFK.
The magic time traveling camera.
Yeah, that's what the umbrella guy was doing at the JFK assassination.
There we go. All right, so I think that's gonna do it for the main discussion. Do we have any departing thoughts, Mr. Kraft?
It's really worth checking out. I like it a lot. It's very sweet, and you can definitely take your kids to it if you have any kids.
Yeah, I would agree. It's a very sweet, wholesome, funny movie, and yeah, definitely check it out if you can. So yeah, that is going to do it for us. Thank you for listening to this podcast. If you are listening on the audio platforms, feel free to leave a review or thumbs up, 5 stars, something, whatever. And if you are watching our visualizer on YouTube, thank you for watching. Leave a comment below. Let us know what you think of Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. Do you think it's funny? Do you think it's sweet? Do you like the short films? Have you read the books? Comment below and let us know. While you're down there, give us a like if you liked it. Give us a subscribe if you want to see more. And hit the bell icon so that you can stick your feet in honey and climb up a wall so that Tanner won't break into your home. Thank you for tuning in. And remember, it's a big world out there, so hold on to your shell. Farewell.
I slid my ticket across the table and I said, "Sorry guys, I gotta see about a girl."